as the saying goes, lightning doesn't strike the same place twice, but it did for you because you went from one great venture to another. So it would be really interesting to know the transition from Souk.com, and then you were with Angami as the chief operating officer. We've had Waleed Mansour also on the podcast talk about Angami and the heights it reached with the listing. How has uh, probably the learnings from Souk.com and the new experiences in Angami kind of intertwined with each other?
Yeah, so I think two key learnings I took from Souk and Amazon that were, that helped a lot at Anghami. Number one is this mix of a startup and the big processes of a company that is going public, right? Because Anghami was a startup.
Yes.
Internally, how they operated, all of these, and how do you then have to put really strong processes and measuring and KPIs because it's going to go IPO.
Yes.
So that's really what I helped with. And I think it was super important to ensure that Anghami was very different before we IPO. So the two key things was and I remember when we were building Souk categories, and mobile phones was of course the most important category. I remember the trick that really got us to scale very quickly was when we got exclusive mobile phones, from China. And I was like, okay, hold on a minute. What is it in the music world? Let's get someone exclusive. Can we get, guys, can we get a singer who's exclusive for Anghami? So really that is the big differentiation. And I got Amr Diab. Amr Diab is the number one artist in our Arabic world. It's like, okay, let's get Amr Diab exclusive. And everyone was like, you're crazy. And I was like, well, let's try. And we got Amr Diab. So Amr Diab was actually exclusive on Anghami. And that news was super important because literally the scale of your users on Anghami was just incredible because every single listener, and the way we did it was Amr Diab was not on any other platform. Amr Diab was off YouTube. You could not listen to an Amr Diab song on YouTube or anywhere. And I think that was a key milestone, and that was a learning from, the startup world of Souk.com. But then in order for you to go IPO, you really have to have all the numbers proper, all the measurements and all of this. So I took the processes of Amazon. How do you do a WBR, an MBR, all of this, and we re-implemented it at Anghami, which really helped to set up a solid company that is ready to talk to the world with numbers and to the investors with numbers.
So being wrapped up in the e-com world from such an early stage in your career, but also just generally e-com, particularly in the region.
Yes.
Where do you see it going from now on forward?
I think I'm kind of super lucky because I started in entertainment and I did e-commerce. And now you can see that the future of e-commerce is a mix of these two.
Okay.
The Gen Z is actually consuming a lot of social media.
Yeah.
The customer, that young customer, is also buying on her TikTok, on the Instagram and whatever.
Yeah.
And if you see how, social media, social commerce, live commerce, I want to say.
Okay.
So there's something called now e-commerce 3.0.
Okay.
And that's literally live commerce. And live commerce is kind of a mix between e-commerce as we know it,
Yeah.
quick commerce, so
Yes.
all the quick apps, like today I buy all my groceries on a quick commerce app.
Yes.
I actually not on e-commerce, so it's a
Yeah.
little bit beyond. And then social media where you buy, you see this makeup, okay, you go to another platform to buy it.
Yeah.
And I think the future is the merge of all of these three into something new.
Yeah.
And I call it e-commerce 3.0. And that's where everywhere is heading. So there was the latest research that says that live commerce is going to be around $170 billion. China is definitely leading in this one.
Okay.
But I believe that the Middle East, because of, you can see the way consumption of social media is happening, the impact still of influencers and celebrities on our decision making, the way we discover brands and engage with brands is happening a lot on social media still. but also the urgency of getting things. Like we're spoiled as a customer in our region, right?
Yes.
And you see a lot of e-commerce from luxury all the way to groceries that deliver in 15 minutes now. And that type of convenience is unprecedented elsewhere in the world. So I think somewhere the merge of these three is going to be what's going to happen in the Middle East. So wait for e-commerce 3.0.